so excited. But let's talk about today a little bit. Participating in the third rainbow celebration. The third. This is not something that I would have dreamed of doing 6 years ago when I started working on LGBT issues. And yes, Jamie, it has been 6 years. She was reading this earlier. It said 6 years? Yes, it has been since we started. And so over the past year, coming back as a master's student after being gone for a year, there have been some stories that have been passed down about me. And some of them I wasn't really sure if I actually agreed with or not, but that's a whole other story for another day. But some of the younger undergrads, the first and second years, that didn't really get to know me while I was here for my undergrad degree, started calling me Grandpa.
The most accurate nickname ever.
Because of the stories that I was telling. And so if I'm Grandpa, I'd like to know what that makes you about. Just saying. But anyway, not yet. So anyway, so I invite you to pull up a chair and relax as this grandpa tells you a short story about my time here. So for years at UC, obviously, there's been LGBT programming. The Women's Center has been wonderful in doing that for years. LGBT History Month, Pride Week. In later years, they would add a graduate student, and they were really the forefront of a lot of the work that was happening with the LGBT Center. And as a community, we all appreciated those efforts, most certainly, but we didn't really feel that it was enough. We felt like UC could do a lot more. And so, one of the things that we really wanted was non-discrimination policy coverage, inclusive policies across campus, an office separate from the Women's Center, even though we love them so much, and a full-time staff. We didn't really know at the time when we were first starting to talk about the staff, like, what do we want the staff member to do? What should they do? What do they do other places? It was that conversation that was beginning to happen, and it was really exciting. So even though we didn't really know exactly, we still knew it was important. And so in spring of 2006, my freshman year here of undergrad, Gender Block began. And
yes!
And I was fortunate enough to be asked to join. And I had no idea how that was going to shape the next few years of my life here at UC as an undergrad, and then even after, and into my master's degree, and my year in Baltimore and all of that. We knew that UC had already been a leader in change. As Doug mentioned earlier, we were putting sexual orientation and non-discrimination policy before a lot of other public universities were, but we had somehow fallen behind. We started offering domestic partner benefits, which was great, but again, we were still falling behind because we weren't including our trans community. So Gender Block got started on that premise. Of course, we wanted gender identity and expression, and that was the next logical step for making us more inclusive. And it was great to see the community come together, to see Gender Block, UC Alliance, and the Women's Center, and I think Equality UC at the time was also around, working to change the university's policy. Gender Block and Alliance petitioned student government, presented their ideas to several administrators, several times. And the Women's Center worked with other offices, diversity committee, and students to show the importance, often unrecognized. And in 2009, all of our hard work paid off. And that was the first moment of us going, yes, UC is actually recognizing the full community. And gender identity and expression was added to our non-discrimination policy. And we also began to get things. We got an office. Well, a closet. That's okay. It was a closet nonetheless. All volunteer run. With students fielding questions about, I just came out to my mom and she cut me off financially, what do I do? Students fielding questions of, I am starting the process of coming out, but I have a boyfriend, how do I break up with him and tell him? All those different questions, right? Everything from social to financial were being fielded by students in this community. And I think that was one of the most powerful experiences for us to see. But it also told us, yeah, we need a full-time staff person. We can't do this as students for a long period of time. So again, Gender Block, UC Alliance, Women's Center led the efforts. Gender Block and UC gave UC administrators a resource finder. We staged rallies. We attended board of trustees meetings, sometimes against their will. And we held a letter writing campaign that yielded over 800 letters. which was amazing to see that many signed letters. We were sitting the Highland House, this big house that a bunch of queers in it, like this best thing that off campus anyway. And we had probably about 10 people sitting around this table, folding letters, marking them with the different administrators that we were sending them to, with their UC mail locations so that we didn't have to pay postage. Great. But 800 letters just piling up on this table and in boxes, and then we had to figure out what mail locations to send them from because we figured we couldn't send them all from the same office. It was just, things like that really have made my time here memorable. And so again, on January 15th, 2009, the LGBTQ community was rewarded again with that center. And we began to see a small portion of what was to come for the next 4 years. And those 4 years have flown by for me. First came the news of a full-time staff, the LGBTQ director, Layson. Soon after that, we found out that there was going to be a little bit bigger of a budget than we had expected, which was awesome. Later, center volunteers began packing up the closet because we were coming out. We were moving into our permanent location. We received an upgrade about quadruple in size. Yes, I've looked at the blueprints.
It's probably more than that.
No, it's quadruple.
It's only 100 square feet.
Now, 6 years since I began my journey here with the UC LGBTQ community, we have a second full-time staff member. We have a graduate student, and we continue providing support and resources for the LGBTQ and ally community. And as for me, I get to be the grandpa, pass down the stories of No Center, stories of meeting with administration, stories of coming out of the closet, and I'm not talking about my own story, and stories of seeing what we never realized could be. I'm amazed by the last 6 years of progress and anxiously await for the next 6 years when I'm sure the LGBTQ community will flourish. So congratulations to all the graduates, and to those who aren't graduating quite yet, continue the great efforts. And for our graduates, continue these efforts beyond the walls of UC, and remember that often you can't see all of the possibilities of what could be, but you must continue the effort, because what can be returned to you is beyond your wildest imagination. Thank you.